Thank you for picking up the Sticks, episode 45, Sticks Gaming Podcast. I am Mike Kernat. To my right, Mike Steak Carnian.
What's going on?
And to my left, Art. He lives his life in hard mode. Rosian.
I mean,
That's a double entendre.
like 5 minutes at a time. If she's lucky.
Karen's a lucky woman. So, big show today. We got a lot going on. We got tons of news and a lot of new releases. It
Look at these sweet mugs Mike got for us.
was for Christmas.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to buy my own once I get enough money to make my own.
I didn't get anyone Christmas gift.
That's fine. My GameCube is good forever. You don't have to buy me anything ever again.
Good.
So yeah, like I said, we
That's
got
the plan.
yeah. So we got a lot going on today. Game of the year rundown we're gonna be doing. The SNES, we'll talk a little bit about that as well, and then kind of the normal rigmarole beyond that.
Most of it, I mean, some of it's pretty much non-existent.
That's fine. I'm still gonna throw it to both of you guys. I just want to see what you're gonna do.
It's all good.
I think.
You had time. I should have warned you. Steak, what you playing?
A lot of the same. Just still playing some Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I think I've approached the 38 hour mark now, so not too much further than where I was. This is also a little shorter span of our normal
Yeah,
recording
for
for us.
You wouldn't know that based on my games I've been playing. Yeah. But it's only been like what, 7-8 days.
Something like that, yeah. Not even.
Today's Wednesday.
No, we recorded
last Monday. So
Monday. Oh, yeah, it's just
8
over a
days.
week, yeah.
9 days. Something like that.
So yeah, that, and then also jump back into Assassin's Creed Origins a little bit. Just chopping away slowly but surely on that. I mean, that's just something that's going to last a while for me. Just because every time I play, it's like I don't even do like the regular story. I'm doing like side quests and all this other stuff. It's just constantly distracting me.
You have a problem with that too. Like,
Oh,
you
I do. I
can't walk by anything.
I cannot. I see an exclamation mark. I have to go check it out, and I know it's a side quest or it's going to be some random hippo attacking the people that I have to destroy. But
Goddamn hippo.
but I have to go take care of it. I need my 100 experience points
How
to
do you-
take out that hippo.
How do you take down the hippo?
Whatever means possible.
Oh, okay.
Because they are violent. They are scary. The hippos are the scariest thing in that game. Oh my god! Like, if you get like a pack of them to follow you, they're just like, "Rawr," they're giant mouths. They can run like almost. They can run faster than you can. So you gotta get to escape them. You gotta get on your horse to get away from them.
I wonder if that's real.
Can you
don't know.
mount? Can you mount a hippo and then ride it?
No, I haven't discovered that.
You
That
haven't
would
tried
be
it?
awesome.
That game's literally unplayable.
Yeah.
Well, you just ruined my dreams. Good thing
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
still the shrink wrap.
Exactly. But no, but I was, that's pretty much it. Though.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right. What you playing?
Okay, so let's see. I'll start off with the smaller things first. Well, smaller as far as my time. Played some more Hitman, just going through and doing like the escalation contracts, which is basically like you start off with a mission and here's the goals. It's usually like you start off, you have to kill these people. And when you beat that, then you go to level 2 of that. It's the same thing, but there's like an extra modifier in there. And then there's some of them are 3 levels, some of them are 5 levels.
Okay.
So it just keeps adding on to it the more and more you go.
Before we go any further, there is some construction happening to our left.
Should I go away?
No, absolutely not. It's so you're gonna hear some weird noises. Either gonna be some Christmas construction going on over there, like that, or there are also cats playing in boxes.
They're fighting over a box right
Yeah.
now.
If you see us staring,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Christmas time.
Because the cats are really funny right now. Like they're
It's
one's
pretty hilarious.
essentially trapped in a box. It's great. Anyway,
Yes.
so I was going through doing this last night, and like I did one. Was it last night? Might be 2 nights ago. I don't know. Everything's a blur right now. And I did one, and it like glitched out on me. Like I completed all the goals, but it didn't give me like an exit point like it's supposed to. So I was like I ran to where the exit's supposed to be because it was level 2, and I already knew. And I'm like, well, maybe I have to go like actually like inspect the bodies of the people I killed because I killed them with a sniper rifle like across the map.
yeah.
I'm like, okay, let's start walking back. And I went to hit a button to do something. I think it was bring up the map. And I hit the up button, which brings out which pulls your weapon out. And like one of the challenges in the mission was like nobody could see you do anything illegal. And I was in the middle of like a crowded like shopping bazaar, and I was like,
Hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of this thing?
Look at my gun, everybody. Look how cool I look.
like I just face palmed. I'm like, all right, I'm done for the night. That was so. There was that. Jump back into Wolfenstein 2. Yeah, I stopped playing that a couple weeks ago. I don't remember. Something got in the way, and yeah, I'll have that done by the next time we talk. So I'll have more thoughts on it then.
It's
Awesome.
like a 10-hour game. So
Yeah.
I looked at that.
Yeah, it's Then the rest of my time I spent, I started and beat Uncharted Lost Legacy,
Nice.
which yes, I did that one because it was a really short game. It's an Uncharted game. I mean, I didn't really, I wasn't too into the characters in the game. The story was nothing special really. I still hate Sam Drake. I wish he would just fucking go away and die. So yeah, I played through that. It was, it's a fine game. It's nothing that blew me away.
Did you play on like the whole like 4K deal and
Yeah,
the whole deal?
yeah. My PS4 is just set to 4K HDR now.
Nice.
So if something's 4K and HDR, it'll
Just
automatically switch
Yep.
it over.
Nice.
Great looking game. Can't tell you the number of times I drove a Jeep off a super high waterfall. Yeah, I know when you played it, you said you just skipped the whole open world part.
Yeah.
It's you could take it or leave it.
It's like a collectathon, right? You just
You
collect the
collect
little
like
coins or
9
whatever.
coins or something, and it's basically you go to like a little building or a fort or something, and you just have to find the coin. And usually there's some kind of puzzle magic to get to the coin. And
Gotcha.
once you get all the coins, you get a bracelet that starts making noise and vibrates your controller when you're close to a treasure or a trinket that things you
okay.
collect. And if you do like a new game plus after that, you can keep the bracelet. So if you're doing a second playthrough to try to get the platinum, it'll help obviously.
Well, you need to beat that game on Crush and get the platinum. That's why I didn't even bother with it.
You do, but if you do like a second play, well, you have to do a second playthrough to get Crushing unlocked.
Right.
But you can also use like all the weapon unlocks that you could buy and infinite ammo and all that shit. So that makes it
Okay.
infinitely easier.
Yeah, no kidding.
However, hand-to-hand combat on Crushing still a bitch. Like I started it up just because I wanted to get an RPG with unlimited ammo and just go nuts, and I didn't play it long enough to get to a point where you actually get a weapon. But like right off the bat in that game, you get in a bunch of fist fights, and I died a couple times in those fist fights. At one point, a guy just like backhand bitch slapped me off a building.
Do you save it? Did you save the video that
I
one?
don't think I did. It was like midnight last night, and I'm like, I shouldn't be awake anymore. I should get to bed. I'm gonna be hurting tomorrow. I have to do a podcast when I'm hurting even more on Thursday. See, oh no, it's not all I've been playing. Played PUBG on the Xbox. Very, very early. It's early access. It is early access.
Yeah.
It is. So I posted something on the Facebook page about how if you turn off game capture and game recording,
Right.
it improves like the visuals, like the frame FPS and stuff. So the first game I played, I left that on because I wanted to see how bad it was on the all powerful Xbox One X. It was pretty awful.
Wow.
I played a little bit of it too, and the only real problem I had was I had lag issues in 3 of the 4 games I played, like pretty bad, and just texture popping
Well,
and things like that.
I was having stuff like in that first game I played with that setting on. It was like stuff pops in like after you're in a house, like shit'll populate in the building. But like when I had it on, I would like be walking, and the game would like jump me back 3 steps.
Yeah,
As
it was
it-
that for me too.
As it kept loading. When I turned that off, I turned it off and I played some more today. That stuff wasn't happening anymore.
Okay,
I did get a kill in my first game, so I was proud of that.
Nice.
I came across a guy like laying down in a field, and I'm pretty sure he was like messing with his inventory. And I just kind of stood over him, like, all right, pop, pop.
Nice.
I think I missed the first shot actually.
I played it too, and I got my very first game. I finished 5th, and I would have done better, but like I was kind of like laying down. I was prone in like some bushes, and a guy was probably about 4 or 5 steps ahead of me, and I was just like coming around to the side of him. I hit him once with a shotgun, and he ran. And when I rotated, the camera went behind a bush, and I couldn't see what was happening. And then I'm trying to free the camera from the shrubbery, and then I died. So I probably would have finished at least 4th, if not better. I had that guy did the rights.
Which I don't think. I mean, that I don't think is so much an early access problem. The camera moving around in third person was kind of an issue on PC too.
Yeah.
I mean, not an issue. It's just the way the game is. A big issue that I've seen in that game. Well, I've experienced myself today, and I've read a bunch of people complaining about it, is basically people using vehicles as weapons.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And like, it's not. I figured this out after I got run over by a guy in a fucking Jeep today.
I have a similar story.
But the way I figured it out is this isn't a problem on the PC because vehicles can't control as well because you're using a keyboard and a mouse.
Oh,
With a controller, it's
yeah.
much easier to control a vehicle
Yeah.
and make precise movements. And on the PC, it's easier to sprint out of the way of the car coming at you
Right.
and unload a clip on them. So it's one of those things. I think it's the game's been out for less than a week at this point.
Yeah.
They're going to need to do tweaking and balancing and
It's early access.
yeah. And
I was
it's
thinking 1.0 came out today
yeah,
for
PC.
PC.
yeah, it's one of those things. What I've played so far reminds me a lot of the early days of the PC version. So I'm not super worried about it. I mean, it'll be around long enough, and they'll keep making improvements because Microsoft's going to make improvements. But yeah, it's an early access version. And it very much shows that.
Yeah, I've definitely seen a lot of vehicular movement in that one. 2 of the 4 games I played, I died via a vehicle. One of them, well, they have planes go over every once in a while too, either drops or air raids or things of that, like that. And I heard it coming, and I was damn sure it was a plane, and it was a Jeep, just like it was like stalking me like Jaws, just coming from behind me and just taking me out. But yeah, I've pretty much had those same problems.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It's like it's frustrating, but it says early access when
Yeah.
you buy it. It says
Oh,
early access on
absolutely.
the screen when you boot it up.
I'm sure, yeah.
I mean, it's
So everyone should know.
yeah. And people who are having like major complaints about it, like this game's unplayable, like, well, you shouldn't have bought a fucking beta version of a game.
And,
Right.
and it's not.
Yeah, it's not
I,
unplayable.
that being said, I still had a lot of fun with it, and I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
wait to go back to it.
Yeah, I mean, I played a couple rounds today when I got home. I got home from work early, played a couple rounds, and yeah, I'm not gonna not play it again.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been playing.
All right.
Mike, read us your shopping
Pack
list.
a lunch, everyone. All right, so I finished the first playthrough of Nier.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that you said that game has multiple endings.
Yes, so
You mean first actual playthrough, not you pulled out your CPU chip.
no, I have 2 endings now. And I played the first few minutes of like when you start back up. So there's 2 main characters in the game. You play as the second one in the second playthrough, as it's like the same timeline, but you're playing like unseen events that happen as you're playing through the first one, but much shorter. So I'm thinking maybe the whole rest of like this second playthrough is going to be a shorter run through it, just because you're just doing like secondary or background stuff or whatever it is. And in some scenes, like in some scenes from the first run through, the secondary character wasn't on the screen or hurt or whatever it is. So I'm interested to see how those come about. But I mean, the ending was nuts. Like the final battle was crazy. I absolutely love that game. I'm excited to get more in, but I'm still not in love with the story of it yet because I still. But again, like I said last time, my understanding is once you get to like the second or third playthrough, you kind of understand really what's happening, and that's when you start like have the aha moment of what's really happening in this story.
Well, I'm wondering. You're saying you're going through the second playthrough now with a different character. I'm
Yeah.
wondering if it's one of those things where it's like it's like on a TV show, like everywhere it's like a 5-minute episode, but we're showing like 6 different people's perspective on that event.
Right.
So I wonder if it's one of those things, and yeah, you will get more of the story.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of characters that showed up in my first playthrough that was there for maybe 10 minutes of the game. So I'm assuming that I'm going to get like their story fleshed out and understand like why they were there to begin with. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be going back to that one. But I was trying to get through all of my Game of the Year possibilities, so I was running through stuff this last week. I did play Wolfenstein 2 only for about an hour though. So you're not going to hear that name coming from my mouth again here today. Just because I haven't played enough of it.
Sure, absolutely.
It's hard as shit. In that hour, I probably only really did like half an hour of progression in the game because
It's not really hard until you hit an area where there's a lot of enemies in one area, and it's beneficial to be stealthy, and it's really hard to be stealthy.
Yeah, because there's no real indicator of where people are. And
it's Wolfenstein. It's like to shoot Nazis.
yeah, and the Wolfenstein is dark. And all the bad guys are wearing dark clothing,
Right.
So
Yeah.
like truly trying to pick them out is tough, but it's
Get farther into it, that changes.
yeah. I'm just kidding. That's early impressions of that one. I already talked about PUBG. I played more Mario and Rabbids. I'm still enjoying that one a lot. there are so many layers onto each fight of that game that I'm really finding myself enjoying it and kind of digging deeper into strategies and weapon combinations and what to do when. And the second I started figuring stuff out, they changed it up on me by changing what my my goal is for that level. Sometimes it's like wipe all these people out. Sometimes it's get from A to B. Sometimes it's get this one character from A to B.
Okay.
Be like an escort mission. So the second I started figuring stuff out, they changed it up on me and changing levels, and I'm really enjoying it. I played Cuphead. Sorry, excuse me. That game is fucking super hard. My God. I beat the first vegetable boss, and that's all I've
Nice.
been able to accomplish so far.
The 3 vegetable bosses.
I think I can beat the frogs. That's the second one. I just haven't really put enough time into it yet.
The hardest part with the frogs is definitely the last wave of them.
Yeah, you gotta get lucky with what you pull, because some of the things that happen are just
Right.
you're gonna die. Sorry. But yeah, man, it's beautiful. I love the whole presentation of it. My main complaint so far is I need to figure out how to make the control scheme work for me, because like having where like the
Dude,
jump is,
you
and
can customize the controls.
I know I just gotta figure out how I want to do it.
Fuck, what is it? There's one thing that like really helps.
Was it the dash button? Whatever that is.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you change dash to one of the bumpers instead of another face button, that helps out a lot.
Yeah, because you're holding one button to shoot, you're holding another. You got to press another button to jump, and then you have the dash
yeah,
somewhere on the face
yeah.
too. It's just too much going on. I'm dying. So, yeah, again, too early for an impression of Cuphead. But like, I tried to progress more. I tried. It wasn't happening. And the last one, I gotta actually look up what the hell the name of this one was. So I played it all the way through on the Switch. It's also an iOS game apparently. Gorogoa is a puzzle game that's very unique.
Fine Mexican dish.
It's Goro's sister, Gorogoa. But
Literally translates to girl Goro.
it's really neat. It's super short. Though. It was only like an hour and a half, which I was kind of upset about paying $15 for that. But that aside, it's very interesting because it just looks at you're looking at pictures and the puzzles are just pictures. You can go further in the puzzle. The pictures are in 3D,
Okay.
so you can look further into the pictures, move away from the pictures. You can overlap them because there's a grid of 2x2. Like there's 4 pictures that can interact with each other. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, like you get into. Let me give like an example of a puzzle. So one picture it shows like an old man in a park, and you see a bird. So you zoom in on the bird. Then on the right side, you find you're in like an apartment, and you see a painting on a wall that has more branches on it with an apple. So you put the bird here, you put the branch and the apples here. Then you gotta find you place a bowl down, and the bird shakes the apple that drops the apple into the bowl, and it's
Okay.
like the puzzle. So, but you gotta put them all together in a certain sequence to make that all work. I'm gonna die.
You're sounding
You can't all tell. we all
God.
sound terrible right
Oh
now.
my god.
I sound fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm dying. But I really did enjoy it. Even though it was super short, I had so many like aha moments where like, what the hell am I doing? What the hell am I doing? And then they changed it up. Like they introduced a new mechanic in this super easy 4 squares of pictures. It changes the way you look at every puzzle going forward. That is super smart. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. Like the story is nonsense, but the aha moments really kept me going. I'm gonna stop talking. For 5 seconds. Cause steak. What's coming out next couple weeks?
Nothing.
Extra.
No. Yeah. I mean, I think it even might be too soon for some of these sites that they just didn't update like some like the smaller stuff. So I'm sure there's some like indie stuff coming out, especially for Switch, because it seems like there's like 5 to 8 games a week coming out for the Switch, indie wise. So I'm sure there's some stuff out there, but as what I could find right now, it was nothing. But don't forget for PlayStation Plus, your December games for PS4, you can still download Darksiders 2, the Definitive Edition. Kung Fu Panda, Shadow of Legendary Legends, Until Dawn, Rush of Blood for PlayStation VR, Siberia Collection for PS3, X-Blaze Lost Memories for PS3, Forma.8 for PS Vita, crossfire with the PS4, and also Wanted Corp for PS Vita. And then your December games with gold for Xbox. For Xbox One, Warhammer, The End Times, Vermintide. You can download that until December 31st. And you can currently download Back to the Future, the game, the Telltale game, until January 15th. And then for Xbox 360, which is also playable on your Xbox One, until the 31st, you could download Marlo Briggs and the Mask of Death right now.
Nice. So I want to check that one out just out of just curiosity.
The reviews on Steam are pretty high for that game.
Really?
So yeah, I don't know if it's like one of those joke high reviewed games, or not, but the name itself is pretty badass.
Yeah, no shit.
I downloaded it. Haven't played it yet, but one of these days I'll get to it.
You like going on right now.
Yeah.
Extra.
It's time for the news.
The news? That was the news.
That's the news.
We got nothing.
Yeah,
All right.
It's like it's been 9 days since we've done this, and like nothing relevant has happened. There's been plenty of non-relevant shit.
Yeah. Irrelevant.
Yeah,
Whatever.
unrelevant.
All right, so let's get right into Game of the Year then. So the way we do this,
Goaty.
we all figure out our top 5 lists. And we have honorable mentions and things like that too, but the top 5 is what's important because we keep... I see it. I'll put it on my iPad, I guess. We attach a score to each individual one. So if I rank a game as 5th, they get 1 point. As 4th, they get 2 points, and so on and so forth. And whoever gets the most points collectively is our Game of the Year. We only have 1. So,
Do you want to start with the honorable mentions?
sure. Go ahead, Steak, because I can't talk.
All right. So a few of my honorable mentions. Neo. Neo is I just never got extremely far in it, but that game is fantastic. That game is so good. It's hard, but it's really well done. It looks great. Mechanics, everything, just fantastic. Injustice 2.
Yep.
Awesome fighting game.
on my list, too.
Amazing fighting game. But I mean, there were so many good games this year. I tried getting into my top 5 and I couldn't.
I agree.
I really wanted to put in the top 5. There's so many good games that I just couldn't.
It was one of the first games I wrote down when I was trying to put this list together. I could not crack it into the top 5 though.
Yeah.
For those reasons you just mentioned, there's so many amazing things that came out this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I put a lot of time into Injustice. I bought the whole gold edition,
Yep.
whatever it is. I'm still downloading characters. I'm still playing it. That's my game. That's my time killer game I have right now.
Yeah, that game.
One thing I wanted to mention, because this thought came up in my head today as I was like writing out this list. You mentioned there's so many good games. I don't know about anyone else, but I think I've basically been spoiled by this year.
Oh yeah.
So it's one of those things where like
absolutely.
I type out this list of games and I'm like, man, I'm just not like super crazy about any of these games. And then like it dawned on me, I'm like, this is one of those things where like, you always tell people if everything's terrible, nothing's terrible. It's just
Yeah.
the norm.
Right.
If every game is awesome, then nothing's awesome. It's just the norm.
Right, yeah.
And that's one of the thought I had today at work, and I was like, oh Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
Dude, it's
I've turned into a spoiled child.
Those of you, last year.
Oh, we're going to Disney again this year.
Well, let's see, last year when we did our top 5, I honestly had no issues with that top 5 whatsoever.
No.
It was very simple last year. My top 5 was my top 5. This year, I struggled. Like I said, I struggled. I wrote down everything I played. And I was like, damn. I'm like, what the heck? And then there's a lot of games where I just didn't put in enough time. Where I could, like Metroid, Samus Returns on 3DS. I barely touched the surface of that game.
I haven't finished any of my top 5 games.
No. One. I finished one of them.
I will by
I
the
finished all of mine.
by the next time we do this, I will have finished multiple of them.
Yeah.
'Cause I have a week off work.
And then another one,
Nothing to do.
another one I haven't put enough time into was Persona 5.
Yeah.
Like that I know would probably be in my top 5, but I barely touched that game. So and then my last honorable, actually no, I got 2 more. Really quickly, Splatoon 2, just because it actually got me back into wanting to play multiplayer. That grabbed me from and I just never. I mean, I haven't played multiplayer in a long time, and it really got me back into it. So I had to give some kind of credit for that.
No,
So I'll get more into that game later, but
Yeah.
the one thing about that game with the multiplayer is one of the most off-putting things in multiplayer is the voice chat and you're either on a team where everyone wants to communicate, or you're on a team where no one wants to talk and you want to communicate. And that game, just like because it's on a Nintendo platform, which has a terrible online infrastructure
Right.
as far as like compared to other online gaming systems. There is no voice chat. There is no pressure of that. It's basically
Which is awesome.
You're running around playing the game with just other human people that might
Exactly.
as well be AI.
Exactly.
And you don't really need to coordinate all that much either.
Not really. No.
No, and I think that's why I got into it so much.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to listen to anyone or feel bad that I'm not using a headset when they're all trying to coordinate a strike.
Right.
And then this is my final honorable mention, and this was a tough one. Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
Ooh.
I'm kind of surprised by that one.
Great game. Haven't obviously not finished it. I'm probably about, I think, 25 hours in or so. The game, I mean, I really enjoyed it for the time. I know it was my mid-year game of the year. But it's just like the more I played it, it's so frustrating. Like the whole breaking weapon system, constantly breaking.
I feel like I ruined you.
But just like that whole system. It's just like it got to a point where like I was starting to face tougher enemies and everything, and all my good I had to use good weapons. Otherwise, it was taking me forever to take these guys out, and then I would kill one or two of them, and the weapon would break, and then I'm like, well, my next best weapon, that was a 50 level weapon. My next available that I have is a 14.
Is a leaf.
Right.
I got a feather. I can tickle him with that.
It just made the game harder than it need to be.
Let me ask you a question, and I don't want to make this sound like it's derogatory. So,
Oh, you can see
would you?
Are you racist against
and this
elves?
is, yeah.
That's right.
And I'm,
Elfist.
so, how? I think this is probably even impossible to answer, but here we go. How would you think you would have felt about the game if you didn't have the strategy guide?
If I didn't have the
Right.
guide, I would be completely lost.
That's how I felt.
So lost if
That's
I
how
didn't
I
have the
felt
guide.
about it.
Like the guide at least like was showing me like where the shrines were and everything. So it's like okay, because if I didn't have the shrines, I would never have gained more hearts.
Right.
I would never have gained more stamina, which you need a good amount of stamina in that
Yeah,
game to
you need a
climb and
lot of
everything.
it.
You need a lot of it. But also too that like so like to go and face the first divine beast, I don't think I ever would have gotten through that. The puzzles are. It was pretty complicated. Like
Yeah.
even with the guide, I'm like, wait. I was double checking the guide like 3 times. Like, wait, what am I supposed to do right now?
That's what I'm saying,
Like, I don't
like-
understand what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's always been like my problem with like Fallout and like Skyrim and things like that. Like I hit a point where it's like, okay, it's great. It's open world. You can do whatever you want, but I need a little structure.
Yeah.
I need a little help.
little guidance.
Like
to-
even if you want to help, like let me hit a button that'll give me that guidance, like that linearness. Like, and that I think was ultimately what kind of kept Zelda out of my top 5.
I got you.
And I'm not. I mean, it looks fantastic. It's a very good game, but I just these other games I had more fun with.
So that's all your honorable mentions.
that's
You
all
said
my
you had
honorable
one,
mentions.
I
right?
have one.
What's your one?
My one is South Park: The Fractured But Whole. I just love the storytelling in those games, but like I said on previous podcasts and in our freaking half-hour review, it's a great it's a great game, but it's like an act too long, and
Bless.
it's one of those things. And I think it also takes away from it a little bit, like I mentioned in the review, like it's an RPG, but they don't put like the battle strategy into it. Like if you get behind a guy and attack them, you don't do extra damage for a rear attack. That's like probably one of the bigger things that annoyed me about that game. But I still think it's a great game. I would, if I hadn't played it, I would tell someone, I'd tell whoever to go play it if they're,
Yeah.
if they're into South Park type humor.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things that those couple of gripes I have with it were enough to keep it out of my top 5.
I got you.
All right, I'm like going to talk for a half hour and
No,
start
no,
coughing
no,
out.
no. I can't possibly talk for half an hour today. Nier, I already talked about that for other reasons. That'd be like number 6, just because I haven't played. I didn't want to get into that one more. Injustice 2, you already talked about that one.
Yep.
Golf Story for the Switch. Like that one a lot. Just I talked a lot about it, just how warm and fuzzy the whole story was, and then how solid the gameplay was, and how they can really how many different ways they figure out how to play golf in that game
Right.
it was an absolute joy from start to finish. Mario plus Rabbids is an honorable mention as well. I already talked about that earlier. Uncharted Lost Legacy, is a honorable mention, just because it didn't grab me as much as the other Uncharted did.
It didn't even come close for me.
I liked it. I still liked it a lot.
Yeah,
I still liked the gunplay.
It wasn't a
and
bad
everything else.
game, and one thing I mentioned earlier, one of the things I liked about this that I feel like Uncharted 4 was similar in this vein was that unlike one of my biggest issues I have with Uncharted 3, they didn't just keep throwing you into battles and battles and battles. It was like you would occasionally come across a bunch of bad guys that you have to fight.
And Lost Legacy, like I think I said when I first originally talked about it, the thing that really stood out most to me was just how unbelievably gorgeous and ornate like every environment was, whether inside or outside.
Yeah, it's one of I glossed over that when I was talking about it, but it's similar to how great the games have been this year.
Yeah,
I just come to expect that from Uncharted at this point.
Yeah, it was crazy good, but I still like, but it did not crack my top 5. All right, let's get into the nitty gritty of this thing here. Actual top 5 list. I'm going first.
All right,
I'm gonna get to it first. Number 5.
you run this thing. You can go first whenever the hell you want.
I know. I like to give. Number 5 for me is Resident Evil 7. That's the first new game I played of the year because it came out all the way back in January. I mean, they somehow figured out how to do. Damn cats.
They are loving that box.
No shit.
Sorry,
Oh no, it's fun.
there was a literal cat fight going on here for anyone who's wondering why we just all stopped and started cracking up.
They get really territorial with their toys. It's like, it's in my box.
Yeah.
No.
I fell in it first.
Yeah.
So
That's fun. Big box, big fun.
Resident Evil 7. So Capcom, like I said, every 3 games they changed up their formula, right? Like 4 changed everything. This is changing everything, but they somehow figured out how to get the original Resident Evil formula to work in modern day first person
VR goodness.
as well, which was nuts. But just there were so many moments in that game where I still do think about where, like even like early on, like the very first time you start taking damage, or you have to use the health packs, or like the very first time you run into like the family and around that dining room table, and you're running away from from the father, the boss fights. So much of that game really stuck with me. I want to make sure I didn't forget it here for this last one. At some point I'm gonna be jumping into the all the DLC packs that popped on there, but
Let me know when you want to pick.
yeah.
Have you played it yet?
I'm about an hour in,
Okay.
but because I refuse to play that non-VR.
But
I
said-
have to play with VR.
like I said when I played it originally, like that game drained me. Like I was just like exhausted
Yeah.
by the time I was finishing. I can't even imagine playing that in VR that way.
I was sweating.
But
the
like-
whole first hour, I was sweating. My heart was racing the
Yeah,
whole
dude,
time.
but it's like it is a palpable tension and fear that's hard to really grasp unless you've played it. I think it does it better than most modern day horror games, and I love the Resident Evil series on top of it. So like a new take on it, and it worked, and it was scary, and it was fun, and I enjoyed the story. People complain about the last third of it, which I do kind of understand, but overall, I was a big fan. So
yeah,
Resident
once I find a deal on the gold edition, I'm gonna grab it.
Yeah, the gold edition has everything in there.
Yeah, it's got everything, and then also I feel bad that I still have your copy.
It's fine. I haven't had time to play it, so it's perfectly
Like I
fine.
said, so yes, just let me know. But I want to play through the whole thing in VR.
Yeah, no, for
I
sure.
definitely want to get through it.
I mean, if you have the PSVR, you might as well. They put a major title out on VR
exactly.
for the whole game, not just like an experience.
Yeah, and that's what you do with all this VR talk lately. It's really I've been really itching to get back into my VR stuff, so I gotta bust that out. I just wish I had the new version of it.
The game is so damn gross. Like it really, man,
dude,
it's so
that
gross.
the family dinner scene in VR,
Oh, my
man.
God.
Imagine that in VR.
It's just it's
crazy.
It is a hideous and glorious game.
And then running away from them inside the house. Oh my
it's-
god.
it's you
frightening.
You don't even know like the half of it. Like
Honestly, that's
once-
probably just the beginning. Yeah, that's probably just the beginning of it all too.
the very first time you're walking through this narrow hallway and you turn around, one of those mold monsters is like right in your face.
Oh Jesus.
It is awful. It is awful, awful. But yes, I really enjoyed that one though. All right, let's go next.
Go ahead, Art.
All right, my number 5 game is Super Mario Odyssey, which I forgot to mention I played this week. So I really like the game. Like I said, I know a lot of people liken it to what was it, Galaxy and Sunshine. Mm-hmm. I never played any of those games. This is my first time kind of experiencing this type of Mario game. And like I said the last time I talked about it, it seems like it's more about like puzzle solving, exploring, and finding stuff than it is about platforming like a traditional Mario game. And like I said, I haven't beat any of the games in my top 5 yet. But so far, I really enjoy it. Like I was playing it Saturday night, and it was one of those things like I had to make the conscious decision, like I gotta go to bed.
It's one more moon. It's one more moon.
Oh, yeah.
It's one more moon. It's one more moon.
Right. So yeah, that's why I put it on there. Like one of my biggest questions about this game is when it comes to like this, game of the year type stuff is, how much of people's love for this game is the Mario franchise as opposed to the game itself. Like if you took this game and it was
Bubsy?
It was Little Big Planet 3 and you were Sackboy, would it be getting the same rave reviews?
I don't know, but Mario is part of the formula, though. Like I don't think you can extract him from this and have the same game just because there's iconic tone and sound and feel and gravity to playing as Mario in Mario games, like literal gravity. Like it feels like if I felt like I jumped right into that, I just stopped playing Sunshine like the day before. It was just like muscle memory to get back into it. Just walk across, you weirdo.
Military crawl.
No, I mean, I understand your point.
Oh, we gotta go back again.
And it's like that same thing. I wonder. Like I haven't played Breath of the Wild, but
Who cares? It's fine.
I haven't played Breath of the Wild. But I wonder the same thing about that game too. How much is people loving that is people
Get out of the way.
down in front is people just being in love with the Zelda lore and the franchise and all that stuff, and as opposed to the game itself, which. I mean, a lot of people love that game. You two both seem to have different opinions on that, and I've never had any interest in the Zelda franchise. So, outside of me saying that I think the visuals in that game looks like a kid who watercolored, my opinion's really
Don't play
moot
Okami
on
then. I got to still correct.
I honestly was like, Zelda's it's like I keep thinking of Zelda, right? Because especially now because
I keep wanting to go back to it though. I will give it that. I do want to get back to it.
It keeps showing up in like all these different games of the year.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Just that DLC looks awesome with the motorcycle. Risky business.
yeah, it looks so interesting. I don't want to put any more money into it though. Like I don't want to buy a motorcycle.
Oh, I know. I know.
So like,
If I beat the game, then I will go ahead and get the DLC.
I just don't know if I'm ever gonna get back into it.
But it's one of like I asked that question just because something I've been wondering about. It doesn't take away from my enjoyment of Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
But I think it is just done really well. And like, because like the game doesn't suffer from like technical issues
not
or
at
anything
all.
like that. So I think like, sure, the game might be not as highly ranked maybe because if it wasn't Mario, but I think it'd still be a very highly ranked game.
Yeah.
Like because the style and the mechanics of the game work. Everything works.
It's
about
so
the game.
solid.
Yeah.
And it does it.
Which it's one of those things too that's a rare thing these days. Just get a game and it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I'm gonna be talking more about Mario here shortly, but like the game does this. There's a million things to collect in that game, right?
I noticed.
And there's like there's a bunch of different ways to do it, and I think that game goes from showing you something new to you doing it and mastering it quicker than I think any other game I've ever played. Like it doesn't necessarily tell you exactly like you need to do X, Y, and Z to accomplish this, but because of like you've played video games and you've played Mario before and you kind of get an idea of how like the world works around you in Mario Odyssey, like I feel like I'm learning so quickly when they show me something new, and it's just, and that's what makes it so just effortless and seamless and happy. And you know what I mean? Like
that's like what I say. The game to me is more about problem solving than it is about platforming. You go into those boss battles, mini boss battles, what the hell you want to call them.
the rabbits.
Yeah.
Damn rabbits.
But you go in there and it's just kind of like, here's this person, here's their attack, figure it out.
Yeah, we're gonna make it a little bit harder each time, and then the third time you hit them, that's that.
Right.
Just like every other Mario.
Right. Yeah.
So that's
Right. Steak, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is a game I totally forgot they actually came out this year. Yakuza 0.
Oh yeah.
It was a January game, super early in the year. I mean, I've always been super interested in the Yakuza series. I've played very tiny bits here and there of it. Because we got what 4 and 5 I think on PS3 for free, like through PlayStation Plus if I'm not mistaken. So I played a little bit. I played a little bit of one of those. And I'm like, and it always just kind of interests the setting and everything about it always interests me. And this one, like, I am nowhere near being done with it. But holy crap, I've sunk like over 20 hours in this game, and I'm only on chapter, I think, like 4, and I think there's like 17 chapters because I'm doing all the side stuff, like, too. Like, I mean, there's a bunch of mini games and all this other stuff. There's so much to do in that game, and the story is really interesting. I do love the setting. I have yet to start Kiwami, the remake of 1. But I definitely going to jump into that soon because, I mean, Yakuza 6 is coming out in March already. Jesus. And I have to get that collector's edition. It comes with 2 rocks glasses with, like, the dragon on it. I'm like, nice. And whiskey stones. I'm like, I have to get it for me. I love my whiskey, so.
I love my Japanese mafia.
That's right.
I love my Japanese mafia whiskey.
Yeah, that's right. But the game is so much fun. It's a blast. And the series did not disappoint from what I was expecting. So
cool.
Yeah.
Serpentine, go again.
Okay. So my number 4 is Assassin's Creed Origins. This game is just, I haven't really played an Assassin's Creed game in a while. I tried playing Unity and that did not work out well. Syndicate I didn't play, but I heard was very good. The last one I really, really played was 2. And it totally just grabbed me in. I mean, like, obviously I've talked about it plenty of times. The setting alone was drawing me in with the ancient Egypt, and it's not disappointing with some of the lore and everything. Still waiting for that Discover mode to, like, really get more of the lore and, like,
what's
get more
the ETA on that? Is it next?
I think it's next year. Right? I think that one's next year. Yeah.
Well, we're a week out from next year, so.
Well, that's true.
Year.
Yeah.
Sometime between next week and a year from now.
Right.
Is it gonna be the day after Christmas? No, then it's next year.
Right. But I could just, like, I could just, while, popping that in again, like I've talked about earlier, like, just going through the side quests and, like, just going through everything. Like, I very rarely fast travel in that game because it looks so good that I want to just, like, ride on my horse or my camel to each area and stuff.
I can't wait to fast travel through everything.
If it's, like, halfway across the map, I fast travel. If it's more than 2,000 meters away, I fast travel. But that game, it's just been so much fun. I've been really enjoying it.
How often do you get a chance to fight a hippo? I mean,
right, exactly. Hippos, crocodiles, cheetahs. This cheetah was, like, crying in a cage, like it was like being held captive. So I let it out, and what happens? The fucker comes out and starts biting me.
Yeah,
like, what the hell?
Why would you uncage a cheetah? What's wrong with you?
He's crying. He wanted it out.
can you do it from, like, far away?
Christ.
Well, I got some cheetah hide now in my inventory. So, but yeah, I just, like I said, I mean, this to me, like, and also to the new, like, RPG aspects of it and things like that. It's like, okay, it's Assassin's Creed, but it's different. It is different, and so I'm just gonna keep playing it. And like I said, this is something I knew was gonna take me a while to get through, but it's still, like I said, I was playing it a little bit earlier today. It just draws me in every once in a while, and when I do start playing it, I don't want to stop. So it's a lot of fun. I definitely recommend it if you haven't checked it out yet.
Nice. All right, you're up again.
Did not see that coming. My number 4 game is PUBG.
Wow.
So this is more so focusing on the PC version than
sure, yeah,
Xbox version, just the game overall. But so PUBG is not a perfect game. Has a lot of technical issues, but that game does something to me that no other game has ever done. I am tense the whole time. Anytime I hear a gunshot, I'm trying to figure out where the hell it's coming from. I'm trying to figure out if it hit the ground next to me, if I need to start booking it. All that stuff. It's one of those things, like, people have streamed this game and they'll hook up, like, heart rate monitors and, like, put that on the screen too, and you can see their heart rate going up. Like, no other game has done this to me, and that's part of the reason why I can only play this game, like, 2 games at a time.
It's exhausting.
It's like I played 2 games earlier today, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm gonna go pass out on the couch for 20 minutes before I pick the kid up. But yeah, that's the only time a game has ever done that to me. Just being constantly on edge, and the fact that that it can end so quickly after you spent like 20 minutes getting all these good guns and all this ammo, and you make one wrong turn, there's someone there with a shotgun, and you're done.
Yep.
And I don't know, there's something about that it's not unique because there have been other games in this style, but for a game to come out on this scale and explode so much and become so popular, it's the first game that's really reached the masses that's its style. And it's one of those things, like, you jump in there and you make it to the top, 10 or whatever. You feel good about yourself even though you didn't win. you make it to the top 2, you're like, God damn it.
Right.
Yeah. Guy, I saw him, and I missed the first shot, and I lost. But that's the other thing, too. There's, like, it's not like Call of Duty where you see a guy, and you might be hiding behind a corner, and you pre-fire it before you come out. If you do that here, if you fire a bullet and you don't have, like, a path to kill the other person, you might be fucked. Because you're giving away your position to everyone around you.
I was in the second floor of a building that I thought I was in by myself. And it was a large open area, like a large room I was in. And I went to some smaller room, got some stuff out of there. As I'm coming out, I can see the door swing from the other end of it, and I had a shotgun, and I blasted, and I hit him, but I didn't kill him. And the guy just like backed up, and all of a sudden I see his door shut. I don't know. I was just like, so now I'm like,
Where is he?
where is he? Are we doing a standoff? Like,
Is he outside the door? Did he go downstairs, jump downstairs and come in another door? He's coming up to get me?
And so I did like, so I'm like, now I went from like having the upper hand to be like, I have no idea what's going on at all. I never saw that guy again.
Right.
I finally ended up going downstairs, and he just ran away.
Right.
Like, it is to your benefit sometimes to see someone and not approach them or attack them.
Right.
If you, like you said, if you don't have like a pretty sure kill on them.
Yeah, so that's it's one of those games too. Like it's it's more of a you have Call of Duty, which is more of like an arcadey game. You're running around, you're running and gunning, you're dying and respawning real quick.
Yeah.
And this is more of like a kind of like a military sim where it's like you find these weapons and there are it's hard to shoot another person. It's hard to lead someone who's running. It's all these things. It's not as easy as it is in a Call of Duty per se. So
Right.
it's
For sure.
it's a whole bunch of different things that have been in other games before that I haven't necessarily been exposed to, and it's like I said, it's the first game that I've ever had that where I'm just constantly on edge, waiting to make that wrong turn or have someone see me when I'm sprinting across an open field trying to get into the play zone.
Yeah, it's just like when fire breaks out, when gunshots break out, like you said, it's just like, where's it coming from? Is that coming by me? Did they see me? Like, there's so many things that happen, and you're trying to either, do I go in defense mode? Do I go in run mode? Do I go in turtle mode?
Mm-hmm.
Do I go on offense? Like, what the hell do I do? Yeah, it's unique, man. That being said, like, now that I've played both that and Fortnite, like, Fortnite just aped the hell out of all of it. Like, it's not even, like, it's shameful. Like, it's
Fortnite is I played some of that too. That's like, it's not to take anything away from the people that made that game, but it's like the kiddie version of PUBG. It's like everything's more cartoony, and it's very much more. You start off, it's a smaller map. You're more enclosed. You can do a run and gun type strategy there, whereas in PUBG that could leave you in a bad position if you try that.
And like, it's very easy to walk into a room and miss something in the ground too in PUBG because it's like the normal textures. Like in Fortnite, it's like glowing and there's huge gold chests with all kinds of stuff in it. You can hear like the hum of.
That's the other thing with PUBG too. It has like a survival game element to it. Like you start off with nothing, and you may get into the top. Today I had a game where I got into the top 20, and I had a fucking pistol and a hatchet or something, a sickle or something.
Have you found a machete yet in that game?
No.
It's like as big as a baseball bat. It's huge.
But it's one of those things like just by not coming across anyone, I made it into the top 20 of the game. And when I did see someone, I knew all I had was a pistol, so I'm not going to engage this person.
Right. And pretty much everything's been picked through at that point too. So like, you're not going to find anything new.
Right.
Yeah, it's super interesting.
But yeah, that just the difference of that game from everything else that I've played in a shooter, that gets that up on my list.
Nice. My number 4 is a complete different game than that. It is What Remains of Edith Finch.
Sounds very similar.
It is one of those walking sim games where you're walking through a narrative, but this one does it in a way that is constantly changing the way that you're playing the game, viewing the world around you. It has one of the most detailed interiors because the crux of the story is that you are Edith Finch going back to her family house and kind of discovering what happened to your family as you go through and what's happening to you both before you were in that house and while you were in that house. It is it's probably the most unique in terms of that walking sim genre, just because, like I said, like I felt like the second I kind of understood what the game was doing, I went to a different room and it gave me something new to do and gave me a new horrible story or something new for me to interpret that was always just like these family members dying in horrific ways or really quick ways or ways that you're viewing it through the eyes of a child. So how are they seeing it, and how should I interpret it as like an adult playing the game? And it really gets you thinking. And like that's one of those games I'm not being able to like knock out of my brain like this whole year since I played it, I should say. If you're into anything like that, if you just want, and it's a relatively short game, but it packs a lot into that time frame. I thoroughly enjoy that game, and you guys know I love those kind of games anyway. But this is like a really good version of that type of game. So What Remains of Edith Finch was number 4 for me. Bear with me while I type all of that in. Okay, well that's me again, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so 2 points. Speaking of games, I can't leave my brain. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is number 3 for me.
That's so like this last week I've been like plowing through games that like basically like a for your consideration list, and that's one that I meant to get to and I didn't.
It has moments in that game that are either disturbing in trying to like go through the mind of Senua, who is a schizophrenic more or less, and this has been touted as like the best realization or of what it's like to be a schizophrenic, where you're like seeing stuff, or you're seeing flashes in there, or you're hearing things, you're hearing voices, and somehow they fit all those type of things into the gameplay, and made it a wholly unique experience of something I've never played before. Most of the years, it's probably would have been higher on my list. That's how much I actually really liked it. But the next 2 games are 2 of my favorite games I've played probably in the last 10 years. Even like the fighting, I thought was clever. The pairing and fighting and zooming around, like zeroing in on one guy to fight, and there's only like 5 or 6 different enemy types. So it's not robust in terms of the battle piece of it, but what they do when you're going through the environments is just it's moving it's moving in a way that it's hard to even explain without going through it, because it's not a normal story or a normal visual, or like there's just so many different ways that it's just stick in your brain, either because it was a beautiful moment or because it was a completely messed up thing that you never even saw. Like it was like a blurry vision, and you can kind of see this thing coming at you, and you know that if you are too loud, he's going to come after you and just kill you right away. So like you need to be quiet, but you can't really see, and then the voices are going in your head, and then you seeing like flashes of lights in the peripheral of the screen, and all those things are all happening. And I said when you have it all focused on the screen, and if you have a headset on, which they say you can play with, it's just so immersive, and I felt myself really connected to the game and the character in a way that I really haven't ever, just because it's such a unique journey. So I really hope you play it at some point. I hope you play it too. I hope everyone plays it, just because it is a AAA game made by an indie developer. It's like $30 at full price. They did a lot of research in it, and it shows from the jump.
That I mean, one of the reasons I'm even interested in that game, outside of what you said about it, is like hearing like the research they did in this. Like they went out and found like psychological professionals like to consult on this game, which is just ridiculous.
They had people who suffer from schizophrenia as well, and saying like, what do you experience, and they would put that in the game, and either in a mechanic or part of a cutscene or whatever it is. And they said like that was like the most honest representation they've ever seen. And on top of that, it's scored amazingly. It is acted amazingly. Like I said, the girl was like a video editor for like the company, and they tapped her to play Senua, and she does a great job both in terms of acting and voice acting.
She won the Game Award, didn't she?
Yeah, she did, and she earned it. No, she earned it without a doubt. Like it's one of my favorite performances I've ever seen in a game as well. So it does so many things right. In a world of bro shooters and things like that, it's something completely different and unique and special, and people should play it.
Do you remember how long that game took you?
12, maybe less. I really don't remember. It doesn't push back too much. There are a few puzzles that can be a little tricky. There's some fights that took me a couple tries to do. I didn't even talk about that either. Like we're talking about like connecting with the character. No, you had that they call it the rot, I think, that is crawling up your arm, and every single time you die, it crawls up your arm a little bit more, and they suggest that if it gets all the way up to Senua's head, that your game gets erased.
Right.
That's never been proven to be true because people have been trying to do it and they never did it. But it's still the same thing with like you are living Senua's journey because you're having this paranoia. You're having you're having these illogical thoughts about your surroundings that may or your because you never say like it's gonna eat your save, right? You never say something like that, but like it gives it makes you suggest to yourself that that's a possibility, which may or may not ever be true, which is another problem with that. So it's like it's just so good. I can't talk anymore about it because I just want to play. I don't know if I would ever even play it again though, because like my first playthrough is just such like an experience.
Probably wouldn't be the same.
I don't think it would be.
Yeah, going through it again, it would.
Yeah.
You'd know what was coming,
Right.
and it would not be the same.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Art's back to you.
Uno momento, por favor. Okay, so my number 3 game is Cuphead. Just everything about that game is great. I mean, yes, it is a very ball-bustingly hard game, but that's one of those things like they told everyone knew that up front. Like
Yeah.
this is a hard game.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is like takes you back to the old NES type
Yeah.
style.
I was playing that game. I forget who said it, but like they're like, I think Amelia would like that game. I'm like, she no, she would not like that game at all.
Well, yeah, and that's I can see how they would think that because it has like that whole 40s or 30s cartoony style and the music and like that part of it, which is something that I'm usually not that caught up on, like visuals and stuff, but that visual style and the music and everything they did as far as like the setting is. I don't know what the word is to describe it. It's just awesome, and the fact that you hear more about the fact that all the animations are hand drawn.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's insane.
That's ridiculous. Then on top of that, you have a game that, like I said when I first played it, it very much the gameplay reminds me of Mega Man.
Mm-hmm.
You're running, you're jumping, you're avoiding stuff, you're shooting. Without all the laggy stuff that Mega Man always had. But,
Getting new abilities to make it,
Yeah, you go out and you buy different attacks or guns or whatever the hell you want to call them, and in Mega Man you beat the bosses and you get their powers and stuff. So it's one of those things that's you don't see something like that come along every day now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and you might see like an indie game that comes along that's like a retro style, has the same type of gameplay, but not something that comes along with that type of gameplay and that type of style and sound. And that's another one like. I haven't experienced any like bugs in it, like we were mentioning with Mario.
Yeah.
I don't know if there have been any reported, but it's one like every time I've played it, it's run perfect, and it's one of those things like it's another one of those games where I can just pop in for 20 minutes and try going through a boss battle a couple times, and if it doesn't work, okay, I can go on my day. But yeah, it's one of those games. Every time I sit down and I'm like, I don't want to get sucked into something that's gonna keep me up till 3 a.m. I'm like, do I play Cuphead? Do I play this? And there's a list of games like that. It's not often I come across games that are like that I still want to go back to, months later and just play a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, I'm very quick to, if I play a game, I'll either beat it or I get tired of it and move on.
Yeah. Now that I can talk, I was talking about the Gora Go earlier. I was playing my games. That's also all hand drawn. This reminded me of that. But in terms of like Cuphead, like it is just a throwback in every way, shape, and form. In terms of like the way the game plays, the way the game feels, the way the game looks, in terms of the difficulty, like everything. Like it is a full on throwback, and like I said, you need to go in having that expectation that you are gonna get your face kicked in, but it's worth it.
I'm glad to hear that it's been living up to the hype.
It's really good.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. It's
for how long it took to come out.
Yeah, they first announced that at E3 like 4 years ago.
At least 3.
No, it's at least
4.
3. I think it's 4.
Yeah.
And so often, like games that go through that like timeline where they're announced that far out and they come out 4 years later, they either don't live up to the hype or they just don't come out at all.
Yeah.
So to see a game like this that showed so much promise that first time everyone saw it and come out and live up to that is pretty incredible.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, Microsoft had all their confidence in this game, and you can see why.
Yeah.
Nice. Steak, what's number 3?
My number 3 is Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
How do you spell Xeno?
XENO.
XENO.
Thank you.
Blade. I mean, I've been talking about this last couple of casts now. I mean, this game just.
Did you say cockcast?
I'm gonna blame it on the congestion.
Welcome to the Six Cockcast.
Cockcast.
We are inside.
Woo! But I mean, this game just constantly is drawing me in. The story is fantastic. I love the fighting mechanics. The blades drive me a little nuts sometimes with because like when you unlock blades, they're random, so you don't know what you're getting. So sometimes you need certain ones with certain abilities, and that could take a while.
Yeah.
So like that kind of stuff's kind of annoying, but you can also level up the ones that have that to make it a more powerful one, so that helps too. But I know this game was getting a lot of hate.
There's a lot of hate.
Not a lot of hate. There's a few people.
A lot of
There's
haters,
a few.
just a couple high profile.
There's just
people.
a few high profile people that are giving it hate. Yeah, that's right.
The
Yeah,
vocal minority.
yeah. Which it's just like it's saying like oh, this is like god awful anti Nintendo blah blah blah. It's like, all right, cool, calm down.
Yeah, someone says it doesn't respect your time or something.
No,
I
the
read
payoff
one of
so
those.
far has been fantastic.
Is it really the game's responsibility to do that? Isn't it up to you to determine what your time's worth?
I think it's
Yeah.
also like, did you like it or not? Like,
Right.
if I
Well,
liked
yeah,
it, it
it's
was
part
worth
of
my
that
time.
too.
If I
Exactly,
didn't like it,
exactly.
If I didn't like it and I stuck with it, that's my problem.
Right.
Night Trap was a whole waste of everyone's time.
One of these days, I'm still gonna go back to that. I'm gonna finish that.
no,
game.
no,
I'm
no.
not going back to
I
that.
am going to finish that game.
I don't know why you even still have it on my PS4. I should just delete that.
Yes.
Wait, they didn't make anyone's game of the year.
I'm surprised it wasn't one of your honorable mentions.
Yeah.
It's 25 years old.
Remakes don't count.
That's why Mario's not on here. Mario Kart's not on here.
But this game is just so much fun. It's just a blast to play. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, it's been out 2.5 weeks. I have almost 40 hours into it. I mean, for someone like I just I don't have a lot of time to game.
So on top of
like,
your
that's
job,
just-
you have a part-time job.
You're right. Yeah. And it's been awesome. It's so awesome. Yeah.
Number 2. Back to you.
So my number 2 is South Park: The Fractured But Whole. This was another game I just sat there and just played until I beat the crap out of it, and it was hilarious the whole way through. Yeah, I know we talked about it in the Act 3. It was a little weak, but I still enjoyed the hell out of this game so much. I mean, the humor was still fantastic. The combat took some time to get used to at certain times. There were certain times where I was getting really frustrated with it, but it was like, okay, but at least it's challenging me. It's not like super simple. At least I'm getting some type of a challenge here. And like when I struggled, all I did was, it's like, all right, well, let me go level up a little bit. Let me go get some better artifacts. And then once I got those, went back to that, what I was struggling on, and then I crushed it. I'm like, okay, well, there we go. That's all I had to do. Like any other RPG, you got to quote unquote level up, had to grind a little,
Right.
But the story was fantastic all the way through, pretty much. Yeah, this game's hilarious, and it looks. I'm still happy with the way it looked. It looked just like a South Park episode still. It ran very smooth. Like I said, I mean, a few hiccups here and there, but that was, I mean, whatever. It is what it is. I mean, it's South Park. The fact that we got it. I mean, we were never supposed to get a sequel to begin with. Myself and Trey Parker said after Sick of Truth, we are not doing this again.
Yeah, like a
so
year
I
later,
think
here
the
it is.
disaster that was just to create it, even though it was a fantastic game, just to create it. Yeah. But yeah, this game was just I couldn't get enough of it.
Nice. All right, what's number 2?
My number 2 is Wolfenstein 2.
Nice.
So yeah, that's. I think I'd mentioned this the first time I said I played on the podcast. It's the Wolfenstein storyline, which I love their alternate history storyline they have, but they take gameplay elements from so many other Bethesda games. They take stuff from Fallout, and they have stuff from Doom, and they have the regular Wolfenstein stuff in there. And then the further you get into the game, you come across more characters in the game. The newer characters you come across that weren't in the New Blood. That was the first one, right?
Yes.
But,
The New Order.
New Order, Old Blood.
Old Blood.
Yeah.
No.
So more than just what you had in the New Order, and those characters are interesting, and they have interesting stories, and you come across the leader of the other resistance group that you end up working with, and she's a powerful personality, and you sit there, and it's just everything that they've done in that game that I've come across so far works, and it works well. And it's once you get used to the fact that it's, when you get into those areas that are heavy with enemies, that it basically turns into Doom. Once you get used to that, you acknowledge that fact, it's a fun game because you sit there and you go through the level and you have your, one enemy here or there, and you can stealth, come up on stealth and melee them, or, pick them off with your gun or whatever, and then eventually you get to the point where all hell breaks loose. And, it's one of those things, like, if I wasn't trying to cram in other games for this, I would have played that game this past week and beat it.
If we had a normal recording schedule, I think Wolfenstein would have also appeared on my.
I would say if we were
well.
recording this next week, I would have finished that game.
Yeah. Nice. All right. I've gone back and forth a lot on this one.
I know which two that you have.
Yeah, I'm
left.
sure.
I'm just trying to.
I'm sure you do.
I don't know which way you're going though. Like I was trying to think about that. Like,
Yeah.
which way is he gonna go?
I'll explain more when we do the last one, but my number 2 is Horizon. Horizon Zero Dawn is again another one of those games I just can't get out of my brain. I loved everything about it in terms of just the way it looked, the way I progressed in the game, in terms of either on weapons or abilities. I loved that I had so much freedom and possibilities when I would go into a battle scenario. Like, it's not just, I'm not just mowing down people. Like, I had to stealth kill these 2 guys. I set traps for this one before I attacked the big one. You know what I mean? So, like, there's so much that went into every single big fight that and then on top of, like, I thought Aloy was a great character. I thought all even like the secondary characters were all very well fleshed out and made sense. And somehow, I said that when you played it, like, they somehow figured out a way to make future robo dinosaurs in a prehistoric human world make sense. And once you get into those last 4 or 5 story missions, I would have mainlined it if I wasn't trying to get the platinum trophy, because I just really wanted to get to find out the last couple pieces of the puzzle that they don't offer to you until you get to the very last couple battles or last couple scenarios. But man, like, there's moments where I felt like absolutely unbelievably powerful. There are moments where I'm like, I don't know what to do with all this. There are moments where I'm just like, I'm gonna die here. And there are moments where just like, you feel bad for Aloy, or there's moments where you just feel like, this is her moment to stand up and shine and be strong and take on a different role in the world, because she obviously is an important character and figure in that world. And it's just like, it was just so solid. I never had, again, you talk about issues with, I didn't have any issues with that game whatsoever. And there's a lot going on, and there's an open world and crazy robo dinosaurs doing stuff over here while I'm riding a robo dinosaur, while my hair is flying all over the place and it's snowing. And there's just so much going on in that game, and it just ran so smooth, and it was beautiful.
That game was gorgeous.
It's like when you were playing it on the Pro, man,
yeah,
holy Lord,
I know.
And now Mike's gonna buy a new TV. Mike's not gonna buy a new TV.
No, he's not. Shh.
I'm not. But
nobody watches this.
So, if it wasn't, I'm going next year. So summertime back. It wasn't for Mario, which is one of my favorite games I've played in the last 15 years. Horizon was one of my most favorite games I've played in the last 7 or 8 or 9. So like any other year, Horizon would have been my number 1 with a bullet game of the year.
But Nintendo had to ruin it all.
So before I elaborate on my number 1 here, let's run them down. So mine 5 to 2 was Resident Evil 7, What Remains of Edith Finch, Hellblade, and Horizon Zero Dawn. Arts was Mario Odyssey, PUBG, Cuphead, and Wolfenstein 2. Stakes was Yakuza 0, Assassin's Creed Origins, and Xenoblade, and then South Park. So we're into the number 1.
Very little overlap here.
Very little overlap. I have a feeling this one's going to be
That just tells you the amount of games.
My
because
God.
last year we had quite a few overlaps.
Yeah.
Like that tells you this year, like what the different type of games that were out this year. Like we all got a little something like out of all the genres, like which was just fantastic. Like you said, we were spoiled. We were totally spoiled this year. Every game that was supposed to come out and have hype lived up to that hype.
Yeah, for sure. Like, my most disappointing game of this year was Zelda, just because I personally didn't like it.
Sure.
I understand what it is. I understand what it does. I understand what it means for Zelda and the industry and Nintendo. I get all that. It just wasn't for me. Bless you. So, like, my biggest disappointment was a game I just didn't flat out like, and it was a great game. Bless you. That everyone loves. So, but Mario Odyssey is my number one game of the year. And what I was going back and forth between that and Horizon, and the end all be all factor for me was just how happy Mario made me. I just felt bless you. I just felt so compelled to keep jumping into that world, keep jumping into those worlds. And we talk about, like, find that next moon, and it's not just because I just gotta collect everything. It's because I want to see how interesting it was to collect that next moon, like what puzzle I needed to solve, where I needed to go, who I needed to fight, what weird quirky thing I needed to do just this one time. Just sometimes you do stuff in that game, you only do it once and you never see it again. And I collected like 600 some moons, and I never did that thing again. Another thing too, like, I felt the need to do 600 moons of that game.
Well, not only that, like, I'm still early in that game, but it's like you sit there and you get whatever the 11 moons you need to move to the next world, but there's 18 moons in the world. Yeah. You're there like, where are these moons? What the hell did I miss here? And like, what didn't I see in all of this space?
A lot.
And then there's all this space, and there's that, and then you finish the game, and they cram even more moons in there, and then they have, like, I found a picture of this of the Hat world and the dinosaur world. Like, how does that connect? On top of just being, like we talking about being super solid. I mean, it's the best looking Mario game of all time. It plays amazing, and just getting all the way through to the end, to the very, very end, where I had that, super tough, very last moons to get. It was a joy. Like, it was just an absolute phenomenal joy that I couldn't turn away from for my game of the year, just because it just made me so happy. So, like, how could I say no to that? You know what I mean? And it just felt like chicken soup for gamers. But man, it's like, I don't know if they're going to put any DLC out for this, whatever it is. Like, I kind of hope they don't, just to be like,
I don't think they will. I think they would have already announced that.
I mean, here's 3 new kingdoms, whatever it is. They could do it super simple. But just like the throwbacks and just how varied and wondrous each individual kingdom was. I just felt like I was constantly exploring and constantly being rewarded with something, either like, man, that felt like when you go the very first time you go into 2D Mario, or they have like a big 2D Mario event that happens in the game, or just finding finding little trinkets and secrets and this moon, like, I can see that moon all the way over there, like, how the hell did I get it? And then you find it. It's a wondrous game, and one of my favorite games. I don't want to quite say all time, because I'm not quite ready to commit to that, but it is definitely my favorite game of this year and probably of the last few years. I get more than Inside, which is my game of the year last year, but that's neither here nor there. Art, game of the year.
My game of the year was Horizon Zero Dawn. When that game came out, I put about 20 hours into it, and to this date, I still don't know what distracted me from it. But it's the game that I keep thinking about constantly. I'm like, I need to get back and play that, which doesn't. I said before, it doesn't happen often for me. Usually, if I'm out of a game, I'm out of a game. That's it. I usually don't go back to it. And the only thing that's held me back from jumping back into that game is the fact that I know that first day I jump in there and start playing again, I'm going to be playing for 4 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's one of those things. I'm like, when do I have 4 hours to sit down and do this? I know I'm not going to stop. I can't do it if I have to go somewhere or be in bed at a decent hour or anything like that. But a lot of what Mike said about that game, everything in that game is just very unique. Like the environment, with the fact that you have like tribal people and robo dinosaurs, and the fact that there's a multitude of ways to approach these robo beasts. You can go in stealthy and kill them. You can set up traps. You can sit there and strategically shoot off certain components from them to mess up the way they operate and, make them less likely to find you. And like you said, the story, you go in there, and you said towards the end, you said you were just doing like the side stuff, because you wanted to get the platinum.
Oh yeah, I was just so close.
It's one of those things, like when I play any open world game like that where there's side quests, like I need to go do that, and I need to go do that, and then I'll get to the next story thing. But it's like I want to get to the next story thing, but I don't know when they're going to bring me back to this area, and I don't feel like backtracking all the way through the game to get here again. Plus, in that game, I think fast travel, you have to use an item to fast travel somewhere.
Yeah, they have the
Sleeping bags
bed
or some
rolls
shit?
or something.
Yeah.
I think they call them, but they're plentiful. And at some point, you actually get one that is unlimited.
Oh, okay. I was saying, I know when I was playing before, I had plenty of them, and I was fast traveling just because I didn't feel like walking from here to there.
It's a big world.
But yeah, but also it's a gorgeous game, and there's a ton of different environments in one world, and no shortage of different types of enemies you come across, and different NPCs you encounter, and just everything about that game just makes me like I can't stop thinking about it, even though the last time I played it was over 6 months ago.
And I didn't talk about this when I talked about it, but like just the very nature of even like the quests. There's just so they just figure out so many different ways for you to play that game. It's so good.
But yeah, and not only that, but then like they have all the logs that you find that explains like what happened to the world, and you find little trinkets and just the development of Aloy from a child to a teenager into the trials into an adult that everyone's looking up to save them and all this stuff. It's I can't stop thinking about it, and I haven't played it in over 6 months. And I'm scared to get back into it because I know when I do, it's going to be a 4 to 6 hour thing.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of want. I mean, I haven't jumped back into the Frozen Wilds yet either, just because of all this of playing all these Game of the Year games and stuff like that. But like, I can't wait to get back in there.
Well, it's like I'm off next week. I want to knock out Wolfenstein. I might jump into Hellblade, and after that, it's gonna have to be finishing off Horizon, because the other option is Assassin's Creed, and I'm not gonna get sucked into a 50-hour game and put off playing Horizon again.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Steak. Game of the Year.
Super Mario Odyssey.
Yep, that settles it.
For all the
I don't
reasons,
gotta do math or anything.
all the reasons Mike said.
Ditto.
Ditto. Like you said, I mean, honestly, but realistically, like I don't know how much more I could say other than what you've said, and during our review as well.
Yeah, right.
But it's just so much fun. I always had a smile on my face while playing, except for some of the parts where I kept dying, getting mad.
Yeah.
But that's typical Mario. I'm not good at Mario games, so that tends to happen. But this game is just so much fun. It makes you just so happy. The music's phenomenal. The music's absolutely phenomenal in that game. And then also too, like I said, the 2D parts. Mm-hmm. Like for me, that's what really did me in. It was like the different 2D parts in all the worlds. And like some of them were like very simple and straightforward. Other ones were like super creative, actually. I mean, when you complete, I don't care if it's kind of a slight spoiler, I guess, but when you complete New Donk City,
There's a big one.
there's
at the
a
end.
big 2D part, and it's
amazing.
awesome. It's so freaking
good.
cool. But it's just, the game was just, it looks great. It plays great. I mean, and it was one of those games where I was like, I was hesitant about getting it right away, and after seeing the reviews, I was like, all right, I gotta find a way to get this. And I'm so glad I bought it day one, because that whole weekend, like that's a game I still need to go back and finish. But at the same time, I kind of don't want to.
Yeah.
Because I like having that where I can just constantly be.
Hey, cat, leave that cord alone. You son of a bitch.
Smells like fried pussycat.
Yeah.
I will throw my cup at you.
Yeah. But it's
will
just one of
clean
those
up your
games where it's just, I kind of don't want to finish it, because it's like I want it. I want it to always be, it's always there. Like you said though, but with all the moons, there's so many different
I
moons
still got
and
300
everything.
moons to get.
There's a ton of moons to get. The great part too is, like you say, like I see a moon in the distance. I'm like, I have no freaking clue how to get that right now. I'm gonna keep going on. I'm gonna keep moving on. I'll come back to this eventually. But it's unbelievable what Nintendo was able to accomplish, and the fact that we are still not even a year into the Switch.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
And then we already have these, all these games. Look at this is what 2 of my top 5 on the Switch, and 2 more in my honorable mentions. Like, it's just insane.
Yeah, and I mean, this is almost undeniable that this is Nintendo's year. Between that guy right there,
Yeah.
it's the NES, the SNES Classic, Switch having a big game pretty
Yeah.
much every month. Since,
Yeah,
since
it's oh my
launch.
god, it's been because that's the thing too. The only reason why I didn't mention it is because technically it's a remake, but Mario Kart 8 Deluxe,
yeah, for
like
sure.
it's phenomenal on the Switch. It runs super smooth, 60 frames, all the new shit. It's
Yeah.
great.
And near the end of the year, they started putting out all the indie. Like you can play you can play Oxenfree, you can play Doom, you can play Mario and Rabbids, you
Skyrim.
can play Skyrim. You can, I mean, just like those are just like the tangential games
I know.
to this, you know, and
It's-
to like
it's just-
Mario and Zelda and Mario Kart and things like that. So like,
I can't even imagine. I can't wait to see what's coming. Like it's just if this is the first like. Let's see. Switch came out in what, March? Is this the first 9 months of the Switch cycle? I cannot wait to see what else is coming. I mean, we already know, the Bayonettas, which is amazing.
Prime 4 somewhere in the distant future.
Yeah, I mean, Wolfenstein 2. I mean, I'm very curious. I mean, Doom worked out pretty well. It's the same person that did Doom that's doing Wolfenstein 2, so that's going to look great on the Switch. It's
Yeah.
going to run fine on the Switch.
And we talk about the flood of indie stuff coming out.
And then the indie shit is just, it's unbelievable. So, yeah, I mean, just Nintendo just knocked it out of the park this whole entire year, and that was the last thing I expected this year, honestly.
Yeah, I think I just heard something like this week that they crossed 10 million units sold for the Switch.
That's
That's
damn near the
incredible.
entire Wii U lifespan.
They-
Oh,
yeah,
I think
they're-
it's over that now.
It's not over.
It's like
no.
11
okay.
or
I think it's
11.
12.
Oh, 12,
Okay.
But like, man, I remember when like they first announced the Switch and they gave this a name. They're like, "What are we gonna play this Switch?" There's like 5 games for it, and then
Yeah.
it was just like,
Oh, wait.
"Here's everything you can possibly
What
ever
the
want."
hell?
Yeah, so it really opened up the floodgates. But yeah,
I think like one of the good things for for Nintendo and the Switch is like kind of like a blessing in disguise type thing was the Wii U, its failure as a platform, and the fact that they did have a bunch of really good games that nobody played, so they can
Right.
just re-release them all.
Which is fine. And, like, I know a lot of people have an issue with that, but I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I don't have an issue with it because a lot of people didn't play those games.
Exactly. And, like, that's the thing, like, Bayonetta 1 and 2. Like, that... I did play 2 on the Wii U for a little while before I got rid of my Wii U, but I never finished it. I cannot wait to get that back for the Switch and actually go through it and finish it now. But like Smash Brothers, give us Smash Brothers Deluxe. Add a couple more characters, a couple more stages, and just give us the exact same one that's on Wii U.
I'm actually surprised they haven't announced it.
I think I'm almost positive that's going to be coming. And then also, too, Wind Waker and Twilight Princess the HD remasters. Those got to be super easy just to move on to the
I would
Switch.
play so much Wind Waker.
Oh my god, I'll buy that again. Yet again. I bought that for the Twilight Princess. My Wii U's already gone.
Yeah.
But I had Wind Waker HD on Wii U, and it looked phenomenal.
This is a nuts year, an absolute bonkers year.
And the messed up thing is like 2018 is shaping up to be just as strong.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Spider-Man, God of War, Detroit, maybe.
Yeah.
This is Sony, so
And I'm almost positive Microsoft's got a few games up their sleeves for this year. I think they will.
A new Tomb Raider probably.
Oh, yeah.
most likely in Tomb Raider.
Yep.
But speaking of, this I think this was like probably the best year for Nintendo ever. But I think this was the best year for women in games ever as well. Between like Uncharted: Lost Legacy, Senua's Sacrifice, Horizon, Nier, like there's so let me see another one. Well, whatever. But I mean, those are just some examples. Like, well, they were lead characters. They weren't stereotypical. Well, Nier a little bit, but like they weren't like super stereotypical. They weren't like just completely naked and whatever. Like I said, they were like strong characters, and I can't picture another time where they've had a better year.
I say best is hard to say definitively without like trying to like sitting here and thinking back to everything in the past, but definitely the biggest year.
Yeah,
I mean, as far as like lead roles in AAA titles, just in quantity, and also in quality for a lot of those games you just mentioned. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's hard to say definitively best, but I think biggest is pretty.
Fair.
Yeah, it's definitely fair. Definitely, I think describes it.
nice.
Which it's not a bad thing to have more more strong characters in games.
I'm always a big fan of playing and experiencing things that I'm not. So like a woman is one of those things.
Well,
so, like,
so sure, and then, the main thing with that though is like I've always been a believer like do it when it works, and like you're
Right.
putting it. You know what I mean? Like don't force it.
Yeah,
you know what I
I
mean.
don't
And I'm not saying that any of this
Right.
was at all. None of it was.
No,
but that's always been my biggest complaint when it comes to others complaining about lack of women or like how they're represented. It's like, well, there's been plenty of times where it's worked though. Like, but there's been times where they've tried to do it and it just doesn't work. Like, you know what I mean? And that's a whole nother thing. But when it works, perfect. Like, I mean, like look at like Tomb Raider. I mean, Tomb Raider's been around for how many years now? Like Lara Croft's been a big deal in video games for a long time, and that works. She's
Right.
always worked. I mean, sure, she's been sexualized everyone's, but it still works and it's still fun and everyone enjoys it still. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Guys and girls alike.
I think all the games I mentioned before and ours mentioned is like none of it felt pandering. It felt like
That was when Horizon first came out. Everyone made a big deal about Aloy, a young female primary character. It's a big deal for women in gaming. It's one of those things like everyone's talking about that, like the societal impact of it. I'm like, the same thing. Like, I hope you guys didn't shoehorn this in here just to make a statement. And I played the
Right.
game, and they didn't.
right.
The Aloy
Right.
character fits perfectly
Yeah.
into that story. It does not feel forced. It feels natural, and it feels natural in the story and in the world and everything else that's going on. And I think that's important too. You can't just if you shoehorn it in there. Yeah, it's pandering. It's like, oh, this is the hot button societal issue, so let's jump right in there.
Right,
and,
exactly.
try to make a statement. It's no, if you do that, you're setting back what you're trying to support, and you're just making the point for the other side of it who doesn't like that. You're saying, well, look, you force us in here and it's crap. That has not been the case at all in any of these games this year, which is good, and it's only going to lead to more things like that.
All right, back into the normal rigmarole. My gift to you.
Yes.
It was Steak's gift to you,
Yes.
and it was
Splatoon 2.
Platoon 2.
So yeah, I kind of mentioned it earlier when you were talking about Splatoon, but it's definitely a different type of shooter. One of the reasons, it's I have pros and cons to it. Yeah, I mentioned earlier the part about the online gameplay and the need that you don't need to chat to anybody and you can just play by yourself without friends and it feels fine. However, my biggest gripe about that game. So you're these squid kids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How the fuck can you not swim in water?
You swim. Yeah.
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 I was playing earlier, and I was like trying to get away from someone who was attacking me. I'm like, all right, jump, water. I should just be able to get dead. I'm like,
They can breathe in ink,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but they can't breathe in water.
yeah.
They're ink squids, not water squids.
The inklings.
Yeah.
It's science, okay?
Science, bitch.
No, but I mean, like, so there's that. There's, I mean, the gameplay. I like the gameplay as far as like the online component of it. It's kind of right up my alley because when I play online games with objective base, I just go for the objective, and
Right.
if I die a million times trying to get that objective, I'm fine with it.
Yep.
As long as I get the friggin' objective.
Right.
Which is kind of what this game is.
Yeah.
I mean, paint all the space.
right.
If someone gets in your way, try to kill them.
Right.
Maybe. The one thing I didn't like, and this is probably, this is on me because the game's been out for months and I'm, just trying it now, is there's a big gap between that starting gun and the guns other players have. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like every now and then I run into someone who was level 30 something and they would just obliterate me with whatever fucking gun they had or two guns they had.
Yeah.
So that's kind of frustrating at the start. It's not hard to level up to the point where you can buy more guns. I didn't get there in the short time that I played it, but the other thing about the game, maybe I just wasn't paying attention in their little intro video. I couldn't find the single player portion of the game.
It's kind of hidden.
Yeah. You got.
Couldn't fucking find it at all.
Yeah.
You run. And
I walked into
there's-
like 30 stores and no single player.
I think you need to go down like a manhole cover. Like you see a person like run and
Yeah.
hide in there, and
So
you
I
like
I was
jump in
saying, it's
there.
been a while since I've done it.
I did-
Oh
I
no,
did
you
go
go
to
down. You go down that one alley.
to the left of the multiplayer.
Yeah.
So I went in there, and there's the one female character or whatever.
Yep.
And she's like, go rescue 3 of these things.
Yep, that's it. Yep.
I don't know what the fuck they are. I
Oh,
wandered
yeah.
around the place for like 10 minutes.
There was like a manhole right there
Yeah.
that you're supposed to dig into, and then that shows you the area that you're supposed to go into.
So yeah, I found.
It's not very, but no,
I
it's not
found that
very
one manhole. I
straightforward
got
at
in
all.
there, and I was just like painting everything, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's not very
I'm popping
straightforward
balloons,
at
and
all.
I'm like, where am I supposed to be? What is the objective here?
Yeah.
It's one of my overall feeling of this game is if I, and the thing is, it's like a catch-22. Like if I found the game on sale for the right price, I would definitely consider getting it just for that whole, you could jump in for 10, 20, 30 minutes and
sure.
play, and it's not, the Call of Duty where you die every 3 seconds or anything like that. It's not the super, tense. I don't, I'm gonna die any second of PUBG. It's more laid back, but like the catch-22 on that is like it's a first-party game. Nintendo never puts their first-party games on sale. So the price point at which I would buy this game is probably lower than they will sell it for until Splatoon 3 comes out. But I mean, I enjoyed the limited amount of time I played the game. Minimal complaints about it.
Yeah.
Sure.
I still don't know how squids can't swim in water.
Fair enough. It's a fair question.
But yeah, I mean that's I did have an issue with the matchmaking. Not so much that like it didn't put me in matches, but the balancing of it. Like at one point I was playing with you're on teams of 4, and the team I was on, the highest ranked person was like a 17, and the other team, the lowest ranked person was like a 38.
I'm
wow.
curious
That's
how many
surprising.
players
And
they
it
have
and it
now.
wasn't
Yeah.
and the other team wasn't a squad because like half of them were on my team the round before.
Interesting.
So it's not like they were all playing together and just getting
Right,
put into
right.
matches and they always play together. So I mean, I don't know. It could be I was playing at like 4 p.m. So I don't know what the population is now overall or at that time. So it may have just been here's what's available for a game. Go play a game.
Right.
So yeah, I haven't been on that game in a while. It came out July.
It's
So
somewhere in the
like,
summer.
I have a feeling with everything else that's been coming out lately and stuff, like people are probably not as much playing it
Yeah.
right now. So that potentially could be why too.
And another thing that's kind of annoying, I mean, I didn't play it enough for it to become a major annoyance, is the fact that they have a limited number of maps available at a time. And
I don't
they
like
rotate,
that either.
They
Yeah.
rotate them out, whatever, every
Yeah.
week or 2 weeks or whatever it is.
It's every like 4 hours.
Yeah, it's
Whatever
every
it
few
is.
hours.
Yeah, it's every few hours they rotate the maps out. But that is kind of annoying because it's like, okay, well, it's just like if you're there right when they switched it out, it's like, well, I'm only going to be playing for the next hour, so it's going to be one of these next 2 maps.
Right.
Like that's all I'm going to be
Yeah.
playing. Like that, I get that.
It's a weird choice. Like I don't know why they would have to do that.
I don't know.
Well, and the Salem run, the co-op. I've never done the co-op
Neither have I.
part, but you can only do it during certain times.
Yeah.
as
Unless you
well.
have a full squad, maybe I'm making that up.
No, I think it's
So like if you and I, all 3 of us were all playing it, we couldn't just jump into Salmon Run.
I
and
don't
do
think
it?
so.
Really?
It has to be during a certain. Like we could definitely get in one together, but we'd have to be. It has to be between a
Between
certain
the hours
time
of 4
span.
and 6 on Friday.
Something like that.
That's
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah. So like some of those type of things, I'm like, all right, I don't quite understand
Yeah.
why they decided on that.
That's all I got.
That's all I got.
All right,
Cool.
now it's time for you to pass me a game.
Right. So,
Terrified.
I mean, the holidays are coming up. By the time everyone's listening to this, the holidays will have gone.
Yeah,
Yes.
holidays would be
So
past.
I figured I should give you something in the holiday spirit. And what says holidays more than guns?
True. Very
So
true.
I'm going to give you can make a choice here. They're both are PC games.
Okay.
Would you rather have a twin stick shooter or a FPS?
Twin stick.
Okay. As long as you told me the truth earlier, and you still have Humble Monthly.
Fairly positive I do.
The game I'm going to give you is Nex Machina.
Yes, I totally do.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's your game.
Cool. That is also
I've heard good things about it.
that is
I've heard
Housemark,
really good
right?
things about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Housemark is
Yep.
the 12 they were.
Yeah.
They now they said they're not gonna do it anymore, but like they're the twin stick shooter gold standard. So
Yeah.
I'm happy with my. Can I ask you what the first person shooter option was?
No, because I may give it to you another time.
Fair enough. So
Or I may give it to him. Or no,
no, I got
it,
you.
it would be you because I want to play it with my code. So.
I got you. All right, so we're gonna be for the SNES Classic. We haven't drawn yet because the contest isn't over yet.
Correct.
So and it usually takes a few
So-
go rounds
yeah,
to
so
make one as
last year when we did
workable.
this, it was kind of a pain to get in touch with a winner who responded, because basically the way we do it is, through the website, we draw a winner. I will reach out to the person. I think last year I just did it over email, and you get 24 hours to respond. If you don't, I'm moving on to the next person. Just because if I waited longer than 24 hours last
This'll
year,
take forever.
we'd still be trying to give away the fucking NES Classic.
yeah.
It's true.
So yeah, that's the way we do it. Hopefully by the time you hear from us again, we will actually have a winner that we've contacted and sent this thing to. If not, I'm just gonna keep it.
I don't think you can do that.
Nah.
I did enter,
God, I hope you pull your name.
and the winner is me.
So
Say, make sure you guys have the right code in because
Yeah, 'cause
we've
there's
seen
also-
Some of
plenty
you
of
don't have the
wrong
right code in.
codes.
and are not from the United States.
Tricky.
So yeah, it's it should be interesting to see how it all shakes out. But no, we
We'll
appreciate
find a
all
winner.
the views and the likes and the shares and the clicks and the whatever. How
Please
that works
continue
out.
to listen to
I know we said last time that we were gonna announce the winner here, but shit happened and we had to move our schedule around. So sorry.
Christmas, leave us alone.
Yep.
So yeah, Art, where can people find us online?
People can find us on Facebook, SoundCloud, iTunes by searching The Sticks Podcast. Can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/SticksGamingVids. Can find us on Twitter at Sticks Podcast. Can find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/The Sticks Podcast.
Nice. Steak. Final words.
Good year, everybody. Cheers. Cheers to
water.
2017.
My empty water
on
bottle.
to 2018,
Lucky mug.
which I'm sure will be another amazing year for gaming.
I don't think it's gonna beat Mario, man.
Amazing year for content from us.
Yeah, I'm super happy that we end up with Super Mario as our game of the year. Like
for
honestly,
sure.
just
I was so worried it was gonna be Horizon. No offense, guys, but I was curious. I'm like, all right, if you put Horizon at 1, it's
Yeah.
Horizon. But if you would have put Mario at 4, or at 2, we would have had a tie between Horizon and Mario. So it's like, all right, then that one I would feel better. I had a feeling it was gonna be Horizon though.
at that point we dressed one cat as Aloy and one cat as Mario, and
Let
whoever
the
gets out of the
battle
box
out,
first.
right? Yeah. But
I like this idea. Can we redo these? votes
yeah,
just
right,
like
yeah,
that?
right. Just for
Change
that,
your order
just,
right now.
just so you get that fight, the cat fight. Yeah.
We're gonna dress them up and we're gonna take the box and stand it upright, and the first cat to walk out wins.
Right, but stay tuned to 2018 for more great content from us, and hopefully
more content.
more
from
content
us.
from us.
Let's not oversell things.
Hey, you gotta make it positive about ourselves, right?
I'm always self-deprecating.
And hopefully some new stuff from us too. We'll see.
It makes failure easier.
Fair enough.
Well, we all hope you had a happy holiday, and hope you're gonna have a happy New Year. A couple days after this airs. So,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
all right, thanks for joining us, Stickheads. See you next time.